Welcome to Walking Stuff and Dead Things. I'm Bert.
I'm Spaz.
And it's daylight out.
We were here. Okay, so we're just recording now?
Yep.
Alright, cool.
Yep.
Just warning on that one.
Yeah,
Just putting that.
BAM! Awkward.
Power it in the kisser.
Okay, so we kind of a little late on this one, aren't we?
This is not spocking. I mean, shocking.
Too soon. This is the review for episode 11, as in to forget. I think it was called.
I don't know what the episodes are called.
I don't know. They're one-word names, and they kind of have meaning into words like emotions or feelings or...
The indication that, like, Nicotero and them didn't want to just call it episode whatever.
Yeah.
Is really what it is.
Well, a whole bunch of shows do that.
You tried to do a thing.
I tried to.
It was cute.
No, there's actually a name for it. Shut up.
You guys miss us. You know this, right? This is the thing.
Yeah,
we're like super close too. Like we're like inviting them right in to the conversation.
Invited.
Okay, now everybody's like crying stranger danger. Like that's what you've just done to our show.
Yeah. The first thing I want to talk about is Aaron showing up with pictures of the community and the city that he's in. There was no people in the pictures.
Just super fucked.
Like, I understand what he was doing with the everything with the pictures and trying to convince them, saying, look, this is where I'm from. This is pictures of everything that's here. We have food in here to, prove that we have this stuff.
The one reason I could think of, and this is something I thought of after yours and my last conversation, one reason that they would have to not have the people in the photos for that community is if Rick and them decided to not join, but knew who the people from the community were and wanted to somehow fuck with the community. Look, we have your people, and they would know which people those were.
Yeah.
So that could be, I mean, obviously that could be like an oversight with the writing of the episode, or it could be something like, if you decide not to join us, we don't want you to know who we are so that you can't steal us and such. Okay. And let's be real, people that have been living in this community, according to the chick, for the majority of the time since the outbreak happened, don't know what it's like on the outside. So they know on some level that they need these people. I mean, we'll talk about that more in the next episode, but...
well, he even says that in the first episode, in this episode that we're talking about now. And he even says, like, your people. People are the most important resource we have.
It's true. And it sounded like everything in his delivery, and it's kind of why I'm a bad person, and I smiled when Rick punched him in the face. Everything he said to them from the minute he walked in with his nice clean shirt and his big smile and, hey, let's all be friends, and like, he looked like he was plucked out of an after-school special and dropped into the zombie apocalypse. Like, if I'm Rick and the rest of the group and whatnot, nothing about him is trustworthy. If you're that clean and that well-fed and that rested and whatever, you've done something at some point.
Well, considering their past experiences, look what they had to do to get to that point. Well, and even then, they love fucking Rick.
Rick's carrying extra hair on his chin in case he starts going bald.
Movember has been a long fucking time for this man.
Extreme comb over.
No.
Like cheese.
I will smack you.
Right out of the frame.
And everything about this episode, every decision Rick has made, Michonne's challenged it. Like,
yeah. Michonne's been the level head. I think that's their way, like, because they can't really do it with Daryl.
I think it's more or less Michonne was the only one who felt to stand up for it, because everybody else was standing around going, well, kind of don't need to, like, we believe him, like, why don't you? And Michonne's the one that says, well, this kind of, you know, we should look at it, like, adjusting.
I need to do a thing there. No, but I think, I mean, granted, there has to be somebody that stands up and says it, but the fact that it's Michonne, the fact that we took Michonne, who at the beginning of her part of the story was like the dictionary definition of a lone wolf, and she's the one, how can I say this? She's the one now voting for a community situation. Mm-hmm. I think it's good to underline how much Rick is not, and how much at the beginning Rick was that guy. So to take the person that you think would be not, and have Michonne of all people be in the Rick spot really, really underlines sort of where Rick's head is at, because they're on opposite ends and you wouldn't predict it.
Yeah. After they...
Daryl's eating worms, that's also
a thing. Yeah, eating worms. That was weird, but...
For only 10 cents a day, you can feed an apocalypse survivor like little Daryl here.
Didn't we mention something about little Daryl earlier in...
I don't want to think about little Daryl. That's awkward. I'm pretty sure Carol wants to think about little Daryl, but I don't. I mean, Beth would have thought about little Daryl, but she kind of had her mind blown a couple weeks ago.
Sorry, hold on. There we go.
Oh, and then there was some other like big refrigerator-shaped dude that went right after her.
Yeah.
She went into the wild blue yonder, and Tyrese followed.
So Aaron has a couple vehicles. One of them being an RV.
Aaron has a revamped version of Dale's RV.
Yeah.
Let's be real with it. I half expected the screwdriver walker to walk out of the bathroom.
And Dale even made an honorable, I wouldn't say an honorable mention, but without saying names, it was an honorable mention.
Well, yeah, Glenn with the whole battery thing, and we all remember, you know, oh, they had a bonding moment. They fixed RVs. And all RVs are identical, Bird. Don't forget that.
Well, general builds for RVs are usually the same as the exteriors. Anyways, not going to get into details.
I keep my battery in the glove box.
In the love box?
Glove box.
Glove box.
Her name is Lucille. Anyways.
Okay. So that happened. In the RV, everybody was checking around for supplies, basically trying to confirm everything Aaron was saying. Everything he was saying up to this point was true. They were blocked in the road. They did only have 2 vehicles. There is food in this RV, which people probably noticed the canned food that he pulled out of the cupboard. It was a Gorbelly, and if anyone else remembers, Gorbelly was the truck and company that the governor's family, or
the family that housed the governor after Woodbury. Yeah. Tara was part of that.
Yeah, Tara was. It was Tara's dad who drove the truck for Gorbelly, or owned Gorbelly, or something like that. Either way, it was Gorbelly.
Or like snuck. I think it was a matter of like he was the driver and he like snuck the last full truck out, or that's how they were living, because Buddy was like hooked up to his his air tank and shit like that. When they found him.
Personally, think the only reason they did this and used Gorbelly was so that like when they pulled out like canned soup, it wasn't like fucking Campbell's.
Well, I mean, also it's one of those little Easter eggs that reminds you, yes, we're all in the same sort of universe. Like, Gorbelly wasn't just something they made up.
I think that's just a perk to the situation. Everything else, aside from it not being Campbell's, it's just avoiding copyright lawsuits. They're just kind of putting a little bit...
Skedios?
Skedios. I knew a sketty once. Not going to go into that. Really not going to go into that.
That's going to go against your parole, isn't it?
They take
the fingers were the worst part. They were soft,
like cheese. You get one.
We're going to hell.
You get one.
We're going to hell.
Yeah, I'm driving the RV. Highway to hell.
I saw you drive a moving truck once. That was interesting.
Hey.
I think it was even here.
I don't know about these Girl Guides, but I ate a brownie once.
Girl Guide cookies are made out of 100% real Girl Guide. Didn't you know that?
Yes.
And a scout's not a venturer until he eats his first brownie. Ba-dum-ching.
So the RV and the car are real. They're true. Aaron's telling the truth. They take everything back to the farmhouse. And barn.
There we go.
And at that point, they basically say, okay, well, we're going to go here. You need to tell us where you want us to go because we're going to be driving. And he's all like, oh, no, I don't want to tell you just because, just in case.
Just because of things and stuff.
And so Rick's like, okay, well, if that's going to be the case, you're going to tell us how to get there. And he says this certain highway, and he's like, you know what?
I'm going to go the other highway.
I'm going to go this highway. Well, no, I didn't clear it. Well, we're going to do it at night now. Just to cover our own ass.
Bowling for zombies.
And that's when the fucking high score counter picked up. Ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. And by the end of it, the car was completely red.
Car was completely red, and red enough. And I love the way this shot was done. Like, I'm not a big fan overall of like complete sky shots because I think sometimes they have a tendency to look really lame. Camera's moving. There we go. Are we good?
Yep, we're good.
This is why he's our AV guy. I had a thought. Where was I going with that? Skyview. Okay. When they shot the thing, when it was finally coming to a stop, and when the buildup of zombies in front of it was finally bringing it to a stop, it was so red. Not only the whole car was red, but it was so red that the light being emitted from the front of the car was red spotlights, pretty much.
I like that. That was a nice little touch.
It was a nice little touch, but I think they went a little over. I don't want to say overboard because look at the show we're talking about, but the thing that kind of every little spot has a moment where it's like, okay, you jumped the shark a little bit. Remember the bridge scene a couple seasons ago where the car fell and it was falling nose first, but when it landed flat. Little tiny thing that just was like one thing too many, and it was like the car was closed, or like the hood of the car was closed when they were plowing through all the zombies. But yet somehow when they open up the trunk, the individual parts of the zombie, like pulling out whole arms and whole legs, whereas none of that's gonna like go through a grill or anything like that. Like
I think it was just generally the speed that they were going and just the amount of objects they were hitting. The front end's gonna be a bit dinged up, and in the process of that, the latch for the hood may just come loose.
But they had to open. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they had to open it to pull it all out. Like I said,
they didn't have to open it. It was already open.
Like the smallest of nitpicks. Like I'm making the absolute smallest of nitpicks on here, but it was just one of those like, okay.
Either way,
that's just me.
The one thing it reminded me of when they were driving down and they had that top-down view was Grand Theft Auto from like the old days,
which you've played a lot more of than I have.
It was all top-down view, and you would drive your car, hit some people.
I play wrestling games.
And that's why my games count. Ha! I'm sorry.
I could get into
if I offended anyone, but we're not going to talk about...
I could do this right now. I really could, but,
So, because of Rick's judgments, and clearly poor decisions, they have now had to abandon their vehicle and start going through the dark woods, chasing after a flare that was fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Which, at that point, Aaron was all like, I'm fucking leaving, I don't care, you're not holding me hostage, I'm getting out of this car and I'm going.
Well, later on we found out why.
Yes, we found out why, but at this point it just kind of said, without knowing what was going on watching the original airtime, it was just like, okay, then what the fuck? Like, why is he doing this now? Like, he seemed so nice before, which we do find out why.
Mm-hmm.
But as ever...
We do find out why, yes. Sorry.
In the meantime, they're all running through the woods, and Glenn runs across Aaron. Aaron's bound by the hands, and he's trying to kick this walker away long enough that either A, someone will help him, or B, he can get the advantage to kill it.
Yeah.
Glenn comes by, sees him, realizes what he did, and then he said, this mind-altering judgment where he was just like, we are people. I have to save him.
Yeah.
Because he has been telling the truth up until now, so I'm going to save him. Gives him a gun.
Oh, no.
Cuts him loose and gives him a gun.
I gotta cut you off at that point. He's either like, okay, we know that he's a good guy now because we've seen to the end of the episode and the next episode, but at this point when Glenn's making that snap decision, he's telling what seems to be the truth so far.
Yeah.
So in all honesty, like especially with all the shit that Glenn's gone through right now, he just lost his sister-in-law because she lost her head a little bit. Especially in his mindset, like I wouldn't blame him either way. Like really,
No, not at all.
Because a lot of people that have encountered this group have done a really good job of pretending to tell the truth. So it's a gamble, for sure.
It is.
Like, he's putting on a good show with them. It's like when you're in a courtroom. You know,
Yeah.
a courtroom isn't about the truth. The courtroom is about who tells the best and most believable story.
Yes.
And right now, that's Aaron.
And even when it came down to it, and Glenn let him go, he cut his ties, and he gave him a gun, we switched over to Rick, at which point we come to them being surrounded and pretty much out of bullets. And then Rick pulls out trusty old Flarey.
The jack-o'-lantern spot was fucking incredible.
I loved it. I love the jack-o'-lantern walker. That was absolute genius on their part.
Yeah. And it wasn't something like that. A spot like that on a show runs a really high risk of coming off as cheesy, and I think they walked that line.
Oh, clearly. They walked it. They walked that line so close that it was to the point where you're just like, I love it. Okay,
yeah,
I'm just gonna give it to you.
There's been a lot worse done kills on this show.
Oh, yeah.
But before that happens, the one thing I do love when Glenn and Aaron come and meet up with the rest of the group again, Rick kind of sees that Aaron's been untied, sees that he has a gun. Aaron just kind of looks at him and is like, Look!
Tie me up.
Yeah, look, you can have my gun, you can tie me up again, but we got to get out of here. Like,
yeah,
and that's probably the most real and most relatable thing that he and Rick say to each other.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where Rick is like, okay, maybe, yeah.
And it's like, even if I don't like you, even if I don't agree with anything else, yes, we do have to get out of here.
Yeah. We don't really have time to bicker and banter about it. So, you know what? Fucking let's
Spick and ban?
Spick and span? Stuff and things?
Yes. That is the name.
When those troublesome walker stains just won't get out of your ratty old clothes, you stuff and things.
Random shout out to Adrian just because.
Just before we go any further, I had one of our viewers and friends of mine whom I play darts with who is very closely watching our show.
Very good.
We
like people that watch our show, by the way.
And this is the incentive. We mention you. If you got questions and stuff, you ask them, we answer.
Well, Adrian gets a default mention because she helped us name the show.
Yes. Yes.
Adrian Goodison or Goodashan. I'm butchering your last name. I'm sorry, but what's up?
Basically, it was the train of thought that I had that I completely lost.
Somebody that you know that plays darts.
Oh, right, yes, Doug.
Bring your darts playing people to the zombie apocalypse. Can you imagine, like, zombie darts? I'm just putting that out there.
Darts with moving targets. I like it.
I'll
get my darts.
Instead of bullseye, it's like walk-eye.
Flares. We can do it with flares.
Woo!
I'm gonna fucking hit you right in the shirt.
Our following started on my wrestling channel. There's going to be a couple of wrestling references every now and then.
Anyways, Doug, this one's for you. We were at darts one night, and
What you gonna do, brother, when zombie mania runs wild on you? What you gonna do?
Okay, so fuck off. If an infant baby turns into a walker, is it at that point a crawler?
Really?
Yeah.
All that setup was just for that.
It had to be all that setup. You wouldn't shut the fuck up. I love it.
I feel like Jeff Dunham right now. And once again, stranger danger.
They helped Eric They got to where they were going, and at that point, when they got to the city that...
we're gonna glaze over Eric.
Yeah. No, we're Aaron.
Okay, Aaron.
They get to where Aaron was trying to go to Eric. We know this now. Good job on my part. So they're at the end of this alleyway, and I'm assuming that the entire time that they're going around the city, or at least where Aaron has told them where they need to go, they're going down this empty road. So they're going to do their whistle signs that I'm assuming Daryl.
I was going to say neat little thing that just it's those slight little things that shows you like this is how well these people know each other. They navigate through cities and towns with a series of whistles.
And that's one thing Aaron even said too when they were still in the barn, is just that you guys have gone through so much, and with no food, no water, and no energy, you have managed to not get at each other's throats.
And you're still alive.
And you're still alive.
I think secretly, like, the people from Alexandria, that's the real thing. Okay, look at how great you guys are. You haven't turned on each other. You're good people, yada, yada, yada. Bottom line, you haven't died yet. Tell us how to do that.
Teach us your ways, Senpai.
Senpai.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
With stuff.
Cheese. So they get back through... They get back through the... Cool. I'll do this show with my Terminus poster. Once I can find it. They get to the city, and they find Eric with the series of whistles. Okay, you're forgiven. You are forgiven. I will just edit this out.
Why?
I don't know, because it's just useless.
Don't edit things. That's why the videos never go up.
That's my job.
I remember back in the day when this was on my channel and all our fuck-ups stayed in.
Yeah. But now you have someone who knows what they're doing at the helm. Editing.
So who did we hire on? Hi guys.
Hi. A little bit of a staff thing.
Staph infection?
I was just about to say that. Get out of my head. And we're back.
And without even knowing it, you've made a wrestling reference. And somebody wants to chime in, apparently.
A staph infection?
CM Punk. Staph infection the size of a baseball. That's why he walked out in the WWE.
I was talking about the staph infection of, like, you know, actually having a staph infection.
So am I. It happened to CM Punk.
Not staff as in employee staff. It's a...
I know what you're talking about, and I'm talking about the same thing. He had a staph infection in his back, the size of a baseball. They wouldn't fix it. That's why he quit the WWE. So you inadvertently made a wrestling reference that my wrestling fan friends are going to laugh at.
Okay.
For reasons.
So we find out exactly why Aaron was so worried to get to the city, which was for his boyfriend, who is Eric. Touching, very touching scene.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people I know out there wouldn't have agreed with.
Are we gonna do this?
I really don't want to, but I know people don't agree with it. Reality is, people don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Okay. We do. We are very friendly to this cause.
Let's put it this way. Gay people are a thing.
They're
Fuck off.
And they do stuff.
There's a turkey joke there. I'm not even gonna touch. But no, we've already had lesbians on. Yeah.
Giblets.
You're fucking awkward. No, but like here's the thing, and this is sort of going to be a tangent for a small second. I think there's a double standard that exists on TV right now. Lesbians are okay and gay guys are not, which sucks a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we've had lesbians on the show, and there's never been a kick of it. Like, Tara and that whole camp group that the governor was with for a while had a couple of girls there that, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but were questionable as far as their straightness. I don't remember their names, to be quite honest, because they didn't last on the show long enough.
Yes.
But, that being said, you know, we've got a homosexual male couple on the show, and there was a big kickoff about it. And it's like, okay, first of all, homophobia makes you an asshole. Like, straight the fuck up.
Yep.
selective homophobia, I want to say, is almost worse.
It's hypocritical.
Because now it's okay. How can I say this?
I'm okay with gay broads, but I'm not okay with gay dudes. That's
because here's the thing, and I don't want to turn this into the whole episode. I really don't. But it's a thing, right? We are the audience, and this is what the audience is saying and whatnot. But like, okay, first of all, people kicking off about any LGBT, whatever the rest of the initials are that I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm trying. But like, people kicking off about this at all would be shitty. People being totally cool with lesbians being on the show but not a gay guy couple is not only homophobia, but it's sexist homophobia, which is super shitty. And the only example I can
twice the offensive.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, being gay is wrong. Well, no, that's not okay. Being gay is wrong if you're a guy. Is worse, man. Like I don't know any other eloquent way to say it other than people are being assholes.
They are. People are assholes.
But I do have to say this though, and this is something that I'm not going to be very popular for saying. So I'm just going to say right now, these are my own views that do not necessarily represent the opinion of Bird or Walking Stuff and Dead Things, but. The other side of the coin is a show suddenly becomes better or more socially acceptable or more edgy or more enlightened when there is a gay couple on the show. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be gay couples on the show, don't get me wrong, but I watch, and this is where Bird can probably make fun of me for the other things that I watch again, but I watch How to Get Away.
The only thing I make fun of you for watching is wrestling.
And Grace.
I don't really make fun of that.
Yeah, you do.
No, I really don't.
Go through the video history.
You mentioned Grey's Anatomy, and I'm like, okay.
Anyways,
I have no interest with Grey's Anatomy.
People that watch Grey's know that the other show by Shonda Rhimes is How to Get Away with Murder, and it's one of the main characters is a very heavily homosexual character, and it's a big part of the show. Good, fantastic, wonderful. But as soon as we realized that suddenly How to Get Away with Murder was one of the most enlightened things on the show. It's like, no, they happen to have a dynamic on the show that a lot of other shows don't have. It doesn't make them any better or any worse. No. Like, there's people on both sides.
I mean, like, look at Orange Is the New Black. It's all
lesbians.
It's all lesbians.
But it's like, I do want to be careful though, because now you've got a gay couple on the show. That doesn't suddenly make your show worse. But I do have to say, it doesn't, for anybody that doesn't watch The Walking Dead or doesn't like The Walking Dead for whatever reason, it doesn't suddenly make it good either.
Yeah.
Like, and that makes me sound sexist, it makes me sound judgmental, and I'm trying not to, so I want to say, again, I'm going to say this a bunch of times, if I've offended anybody, I'm sorry, it's not my intention, but it shouldn't slide the scale either way, is what I mean. It's not suddenly a more enlightened show. It's like, okay, before the zombie apocalypse there were gay people and there still are, so yeah. I actually saw somebody on Twitter, it's like, well, they should stop being gay, there's a population issue to consider. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave this over to you and then I'm gonna try and hop off this because I didn't even want to spend this much time on it, but what do you say to shit like that? First of all, it's a show. Second of all, I don't know. Anyways, we've lingered on this.
Yes. So they're
a couple.
They're a couple.
And it's adorable.
And everything that he was doing, and we see in the car where Aaron had the license plates, and he explained what they were. He was collecting them. He wanted all 52 states. Yeah. 52 states.
And then Eric found one
before he broke his foot. Little did Eric know that the ones that he had collected are now gone.
In the car that's full of stuff.
The zombie things.
I'm sure if you look hard enough in the mess in the front of that car, there's probably a couple zombie things.
Yeah. And once again, Aaron proving his love when he says, okay, well, we're going to stay here the night, whatever, but you're going to sleep over there. And Aaron's just like, you're going to have to shoot me to keep me staying away from him. Like,
yeah.
Anybody else would have said the same thing.
Well, yeah.
No matter what gender or what orientation you are, you would have said the same thing for the person you love.
And the thing that I do like, and people may say I'm reading too much into this, the show has couples.
Yeah.
Again. I mean, they're not heavily doing it yet, but there's a Daryl Carroll thing. They're not heavily doing it yet, but there's a Rick Michonne thing. There's Abraham and his chick, whose name I can never remember.
Glenn and Maggie.
Glenn and Maggie were the couple of the show for a while. I mean, we said for a long period of time, like, that's what they represent. That's why neither one of them are going to die. You got Eric and Aaron. You've got,
Abraham and Rosita.
You got Carl and Beth Tremaines. That was dark.
That was dark. I'm not even going to touch on that. Yeah.
Soft.
The next day happens, and they drive up to this gated fence, this gated community, and Rick turns off the car, and he listens. Now, he's not expecting to hear anything because he doesn't...
He remembers Woodbury.
He remembers Woodbury.
Woodbury was silent from the outside.
Yes. And even at that point, he was just like, nah. And he's listening. He doesn't hear anything. He doesn't hear anything. And all of a sudden, he hears kids laughing. He hears them playing. And that, for him, is just like this big sigh and relief for him.
That's also scary for him, though.
It can be because of everything that he's gone through, but that was just kind of like the highlight of him coming to realization that Aaron's probably not that really bad of a dude. Eric's not that bad of a dude. This place could be good for us. Yeah. And that was just.
And I mean, even if they are assholes, like for
we'll just
whatever.
fuck them up.
Well, no, not even that. But I was gonna say, like, even if we find out at this point that they are assholes, still, like, they were telling the truth about this place. This place is a thing. Them being assholes can be secondary now.
Yep.
But I do. One of the things, and one of the most poignant things of the whole episode was before he goes and hides his gun in the blender, which is, off-putting. He and Michonne have a little bit of a moment, and she's kind of asking him, like, are you ready type thing, whereas initially you think, well, yeah, of course he's ready to be in a safer place, of course he's ready to be in a place where they can breathe and be secure, and da-da-da. But she makes a good point that, like, your driving force for the past, I want to estimate they've been out there like 5 years. Like, that's the rough estimate I'm going with.
Okay.
So their driving force for the last 5 years is keep moving, keep outrunning the walkers, stay alive, find something to eat. Because if you don't, you die. That's a thing. Mm-hmm. Coming into a place where you are okay and you can finally turn your guard off after your guard's been up for 5 years is a scary thing. Because it's one of those, okay, as soon as I let myself down, am I vulnerable all of a sudden? Is this place really as safe as it appears to be? Should I be letting my guard down? And can I function with a motivation other than just, hey, I need to stay alive?
Yeah.
So, like, if this place is everything that it says it is, it's the best thing in the world. But is there... How can I say... This is a place where we can be some semblance of normal after all we've done at the headspace we're at now. Can we function in normal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Being okay is scary. That's how fucked up the Walking Dead scenario is.
Yeah. And one thing we just forgot to touch on, but we did mention it, was Rick putting the gun in the blender.
Yeah.
He went
contingency plan.
Yeah, a contingency plan. He did the same thing with Terminus, and it worked out for him. And before they decided to go in, he said, I'm going off for a little bit of a walk. And he went out and found this place, put a gun marked with a J on it.
J?
There was a J on the handle of the gun.
I don't know what the J signifies.
I'm not sure either, but I have a feeling it's going to come into play.
It could be totally random. It could be like whatever somebody wrote on it before he got his hands on it.
Yeah.
But
I think so. But
he's not Jet Grimes.
No, that's not what it is at all. I think the more or less the reason that they put it there was so that you would remember that gun.
Yeah.
Because he put that gun there for a reason. He's probably going to end up coming back to it later on.
Yeah. And we'll get to that.
Yes.
On the other side.
On the other side.
But One thing that I will say, and we all know, like, every time there's a super happy moment or whatever, Walking Dead loves to, like, get us all super, super happy and then gut us with something.
Yeah.
So when they were happy, and this is just purely a filming thing that I was, you know, I love the show, but I don't trust the show as far as things being happy for too long. When they're all getting out of the cars and they're all checking out the place, and then he reaches into the back of the car to get Judith. And the camera just lingered on Judith for a long time. And I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be the thing. This is going to be like, oh, welcome to our community. We don't like babies. Bang. Or something shit like that.
We don't like babies?
No, but I'm saying, like, whatever they focus on being... Like, if you saw...
Just whatever random scenario would end up with Judith being dead.
Yeah, like, it would be like if they all got there
and then turned into a crawler.
There you go, Doug. Okay, to put it in a different example, like if they got there and the main focus was like Maggie kissing Glenn, I would expect with the amount of time that camera lingered on Judith, if it lingered
for something to happen,
for something, yeah. But like I say to my point, what did I just say? Maggie and Glenn. If say the last thing we saw on the show was Glenn and Maggie, you know, making out, we're happy, we're safe, let's eat face type thing, and some walker that they didn't see comes out and bites one of them on the arm, and it's over.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of thing that is just like, okay, it's too happy, they're lingering on Judith too long.
We can't trust people who write this show
in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I remember your face when Beth got shot.
Yeah.
You were like,
no. I was like,
yeah, so I have a point that I want to make, and I'm actually going to make it when we flip over to the next episode. So, who's the badass, who's the bitch?
I think the badass would have been Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron would have been the badass, and Rick would have been the bitch.
I'm going to go a little farther afield, in a more broad sense. I'm going to say my badass is Michonne, because we know the respect that Michonne has for Rick and for this group, and where
mind basically undermining what Rick was saying, and questioning and judging it and bringing it up, making it vocal.
I don't think she's trying to confront Rick. I just think she's
trying to confront the situation.
She's got a view. And for lack of a better term, she wants her view to be fully known. And it's like, hey, Rick, this is what I think, and I believe it really strongly. If I'm wrong, or if you think this is the wrong, you really got to go some to convince me otherwise. I think Rick needs that, because Rick is going... Somebody said it to me, I can't remember who, somebody in the group, I think. Rick... not like a super like rapey vibe kind of way, but parts of Rick are becoming Shane.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like friendly dude walks through the door and says, "I have a place where you can live permanently with steel walls and all that," and he doesn't even say. He greets him with a punch in the face. I'm not saying take this total stranger at his word, but Rick's first thing, while this guy's spewing nothing but compliments, is to fucking plow him in the face.
And Glenn even said it: shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah. Like they got rid of Shane because Shane was so bad, and then they've all sort of taken a piece of Shane afterward. Like I say, like he's not going around like sexually assaulting people and whatever, but
Shane was the state of mind that everybody needs. But what everybody needs is not the entire state of mind, but portions of it.
Yeah.
That's what Shane represented to me.
Shane represented how careful you have to be, how aggressive you have to be, how strong you have to be, but his was to the point where he had lost faith in humanity. And
dude, we're in reality right now, and I don't even have faith in humanity.
Well, this is true. But no, like, his whole thing was, okay, you almost want to feel bad for him because he's lost all the faith, the world's over, yada, yada, yada. But there was also a very selfish element to it. I don't think there's a selfish element to Rick and Glenn and whatever. I think they're just losing hope a little bit at this point.
Yeah. End of the episode, Carol walks up behind Rick and says, "Even when you're wrong, you're right."
Yeah. because I think she gets where Rick's coming from, even as great as this might be.
Yeah.
And even if it does turn out to be great, you were still right in doubting it.
Yeah.
You were still right to keep us safe and not take the first thing that came along, because the first thing that came along could have been Woodbury, or Terminus, or Slab City, or what happened to the prison, or what happened to the campground, or what happened to the farm.
Yeah. Speaking of Woodbury, it's for sale.
What do you mean Woodbury?
The set of Woodbury is for sale for $700,000.
Isn't the set of Woodbury like an old
abandoned town? It's an abandoned
so we can
town.
buy
It's
the
actually,
whole town?
You can buy. Actually, I think it's only really a few houses. They just kind of
built around the rest.
Of it.
Even still, man.
But still, I mean, like $700,000, and you get Woodbury. I would make that motherfucker into a theme park.
I think we should start. We should get online and start a Kickstarter.
GoFundMe. We're gonna do it. Let's buy Woodbury.
It's all him.
I'm not actually doing it.
It's all him. Where is that? I'm not moving to Atlanta. We're
Somewhere around there.
We're gonna get shot. This is the thing.
See you in a bit.